Hello, welcome to FloraGUPPY. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to make a simple arrangement, and really my inspiration for this one is this vase that I found when I was in the supermarket doing the shopping. And I just really liked it. I think it's quite striking. It's a little bit retro, but it's a nice shaped vase and it's nice and thick. So it's not just a decor vase, it's an actual practical vase. And what we're going to use as our mechanic is we're going to use the FloraGUPPY. So this is something that is available in America, but you can get them all over. And it's essentially a little cage. So you can use this as a mechanic to hold your flowers. Now this is just going to sit perfectly into the top. And what's perfect about this is that your stems can pass through the top, but also get support here as well. So essentially, they're really held by this actual cage, which is really good. And the great thing with this is it's quite sturdy, it's totally reusable. So just give it a good wash and you're ready to go for your next arrangement. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water into our vase. So this is very important. And even if you start with just a low level of water and just top it up at the end, then that works perfectly. So we've got our water, and now I'm just going to pop the cage in. So I'm just looking for a way that it's perfectly secure. Now actually this is a perfect vase for this size of guppy because it just wedges in perfectly. And flower wise, I've got some little yellow roses, some spray carnations and some tulips. And really the tulips were the thing that I really love. I've also got some lovely willow, so this is a good time of year for willow. A little bit of aspidistra, eucalyptus, and a little hydrangea as well. So we're going to create an arrangement. So the first thing I really want to do is see what my willow is doing, because it's going to play a big part in this arrangement. Just because it's a big, thick stem. And we've got some interesting shapes with it as well, so we can make use of those shapes. And the great thing with this kind of willow is that it will start to root as well, so if you do get a little bit, it's worth keeping, and then you can grow your own basically. So what we've done is we've created a bit of a line here and a bit of space, and this is starting to give our framework for our arrangement. So I'm just kind of really doing this quite free form in some ways. So it's not a prescribed way of doing it in any way or form. It's just looking at the materials that you've got and seeing how best to use them. Because everything has a line, everything has a little bit of movement. So we just want to see how best to do that. So even by adding this, we're taking the focus into this area here, but still having all this interesting movement out there. So my little hydrangea has got quite a short stem, so we're just going to pop him in first. And really just to bring a little bit of mass down there. And it's quite a nice type of flower. The aspidistra. I don't want this to look too heavy actually. So I like looping it. I think the loops are really good for putting some body into a design. And it just gives it a little bit of weight into the centre as well. So we've created a base for our flowers, and now we just need to decide which ones we want to use and how. So I think really the best is the tulips, because they're really going to give us our main framework, our main line in this arrangement. So the FloraGUPPY works very well for supporting the flowers, and because it is made of plastic, but it's got nice rounded edges, it's nice and clean in itself. I'm not worrying about the actual mechanic damaging the flowers, it's able to hold the flowers without causing any damage, and that's going to be better for the flowers. I'm just putting one little one, or one or two, maybe facing backwards. That's quite important because it takes your eye through the design and gives it a little bit of depth. So you might think, why is that at the back? We're not going to see it. Well, that's really the reason, is just to do that, give that sense of depth. Now, I really want this one to go here. Yeah, perfect. I think the tulips are lovely. I love the fact that they squeak when you are using them, and they just feel clean and fresh. And what's really nice with tulips is they'll grow and they'll change and they'll move around, which is nice. Now our spray carnations, I don't tend to use spray carnations very often, but what we can do is we can actually use these as little pieces of foliage, or we could even pot them up and try and grow them, which could be quite interesting. But the spray carnations are good value. They're not a bad flower to have, and it just gives a little bit of a highlight. We're not going to use them all, but it does give a little contrast to our slightly heavier flowers. And let's just use this as a foliage. I quite like the silver colour of the carnation. Sometimes the foliage can be really nice and strong. So we're kind of grouping our flowers. We've got our tulips more high, our spray carnations more to one side, and then we can just look at our little roses. So these are just easily available little supermarket roses basically, and we can start to feed them in. So I'm going to keep these more to the left-hand side. And I don't want this arrangement to be stuffed with flowers. That would be a little bit of a shame. So we'll just use what we need. And then if we've got flowers left over, we could always make another arrangement or a different arrangement. So don't feel just because you've bought flowers that you have to put them all in. You'll just end up making it look too cluttered and a bit messy. Now, flowers in a vase are perfect. They'll be so happy just being in water. Really, flowers in water perform the best, and that's because they can really get a nice drink, and they're not having to fight to get water from any other things. So, like foam or that, they'll be fine, but they will last that little bit longer just in fresh water. This is such a pretty little rose, actually. So you need to also think where you're going to put this and how you want it to sit. So I'm really wanting it to sit facing forward so that you've got this depth with our willow, and the willow and the hydrangea are just creating a nice companion to the yellow colour. Actually, it's just perfect. I think we just need a little rose higher up. And we could even put a little rose through to the back as well. So the floral guppy is giving it support. The flowers themselves are now helping to support each other as well. And we've got a lovely, fresh, clean arrangement that is ideal for spring. Really welcoming and really happy and sunny. So it's as simple as that. We're not going to stuff everything in because, as I say, that would just be silly. You have to know when to stop as well. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, click here and subscribe. We've got new videos every week and we'd love you to join us to see what we're going to do. So take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.